Have you ever been in a scenario where you felt absolutely betrayed by another person, or where you felt like someone has gone out and hurt you and you can't get over it? It feels like the worst betrayal of your life. My name's Kelly and I am the host of Redefining Moments, and I welcome you in whatever part of your personal development journey you are in today. Now, today I want to share with you some insights I've had recently about my own feelings around betrayal, hurt, and pain. Now, last year I was in a situation where I was exploring polyamory. Now, this is something that I didn't think I'd be sharing with you guys, but I think it's really important to share because it has taught me so much. And I ended up dating two of my friends in a very short space of time. I absolutely adored them both. They were amazing people in my life. But I realized their dynamic wasn't working for me, and I wanted to be monogamous with one member of the situation. And as the months went on, I struggled. I felt horrible within myself. I wanted to be loved, and I felt both the desire to love and the desire to be loved, but also feeling like I was weaving a web of my own self-destruction. And I didn't know how to get out of it. I felt trapped by my choices because at the end of the day, I felt like I was going to hurt someone, but I was also going to be hurt badly. And the relationships ended. And at first I felt accepting of it until they both ended up in a relationship with one another. And that hurt the most. I could accept that someone didn't love me or didn't love me in the way I needed to be loved. I can accept that the relationship was over, but I felt betrayed. I felt so deeply hurt by the fact that they continued their relationship without me. I felt like there was something clearly wrong with me if they were able to be in a relationship with one another, but the one I wanted to be in a relationship couldn't be in a relationship with me. And I think going through that experience has been so profound and painful. And it's brought to the surface a lot of my desires for a relationship, to be wanted, to be loved, to be valued. It's highlighted to me my patterns even more. But most of all, today I realized that for a long time, I've been looking at how they hurt me, rather than asking, how have they taught me what I needed to know? Because they are just in love. They're two people who have found a life with each other, and they've just decided to be in a relationship with one another. That doesn't mean anything about me. And I have struggled with my hatred towards one of them over the past 9 months. I like to heal quickly. I think I'm someone who is very emotionally intelligent and capable of healing. But I struggled this time because it was a lot harder for me to kick my feelings to one side, or just to work through them on a quickly. A lot of my past experiences, I found acceptance quickly because I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. I totally understand where that person's coming from. I've been in their shoes. I get it. But in this case, I felt wronged and I felt hurt. And I projected a lot of hate onto one individual. And now I'm starting to realize that actually it was not about the pain they've caused me. Because when I go to the pain that they caused me, I'm the victim. I'm the one who's been hurt. I'm the one who suffered. But in truth, in this experience, we've all experienced some form of pain. We've all lost something. Just because they've gained the thing I wanted doesn't mean that they didn't hurt, that they didn't suffer through the experience. And I think by shifting who I am being regarding the relationship in the sense of I am the victim to instead, how have I learned from this? How are they my teachers? What is it that they've offered me through the experience I've been through? It changes the narrative of who they are to me. It changes the narrative from being you are someone who hurt me to you are someone who's given me a deeper understanding of myself. And I'm so grateful for that. It shifts it from hate to gratitude, because I'm now in a position of looking at myself and going, actually, what have I learned from this experience? And I've learned so much. Like, I learned so much from being with them. I learned so much from being in that type of dynamic. I learned my capacity to love and be loved. I learned how to explore and be flexible with my concept of what's normal in society and what's not. I challenged my own beliefs around monogamy. I challenged my own beliefs about dating people who may mirror parts back to me. I also had to rebuild my friendships after that situation as well. And I got the security I wanted in my life. That was one of the biggest things I struggled with as well. Through that dynamic, I found such a deep sense of security within my life, because at the same time, I'd finally found my communities. I'd finally found my people. I felt like everything had slotted into place, but I still felt uncomfortable. And I was the most happiest I've ever been, but I was also feeling the most vulnerable and suffering in many ways as well. I felt agitated and stressed a lot of the time. So it allowed me to see what my life could look like in a sense of comfort, but also having external comfort and security doesn't always mean you are internally secure. You're internally comfortable. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot through that experience. And then, oh God, add the heartbreak into that as well. And I learned so much about myself. I've learned my capacity to hate and to be angry, because that's something I haven't really been allowed to feel in my life, is anger or hatred. I learned to grieve and work through my emotions, and also the depth of the narrative that you can create. For months, I've been struggling with repeated thoughts and also missing those people in my life, because they were a big part of my life and they did offer so much joy. But it's allowed me to see, what does that offer you? What has that experience offered me through my joy, through being with them? What have they mirrored back to me? What parts of myself did I see through them, not because of them or not because they were giving it to me, but what did they reflect back to me? I think when we feel betrayed, it's very easy to give our power away to the person or the villain that has betrayed us. But actually, when we are villainizing someone, there is something that we are denying within ourselves. There is something that we are projecting externally onto other people because we're probably not willing to accept our own pain. And for me, I would admit a lot of my villainization was also a result of guilt, feeling guilty for hurting somebody, feeling guilty for not being in a place to be able to handle their emotional needs alongside my own grief and pain and anger. But also for not feeling seen, heard, or valued within that myself. And I know that's going to be the same feeling they're having on their end, most likely, is they didn't feel seen, heard, or valued. But I found putting myself into a very societal, messy situation in that sense, like something outside of the box, allowed me to recognize myself more, know more of myself through that dynamic, know more of what I want in life. But I'm definitely not the same person I was this time last year. There was a point I felt the most peace and aligned and exactly who I am meant to be. There were moments I felt so much in my own skin, like this is the version of me I'm meant to be. This is the version of me that I've been searching for but didn't know existed. But at the same time, like, I've also healed so many wounds that I've been denying my whole life by exposing them, by being vulnerable. And the nice thing about this situation is I'm not afraid to love again. I'm not afraid to put myself out into the world and to love again. I know, like, love will happen for me and it will be in a connection that aligns with me rather than something I have to force. But it's these situations that I know we have to have more courage in. We have to have the courage to go out and break our own hearts, to try at least. Because I feel now I'm in a position where even though I do deeply, deeply want a relationship and to find someone who loves me as equally as I love them, I also don't want to force. I don't want to like make somebody love me. I just want to enjoy my life and build the foundations in my own life before that happens for me. And if it happens while I'm building the foundations, I want to be in a position where I don't give myself away, where I don't give up on myself for somebody. Because I think there's two sides I feel many of us commonly fall into, and that I guess is the anxious and avoidant attachment styles. But I feel anxiously I have been going, right, oh my God, please love me, here's all of me, here's everything you could possibly want from a partner. I will give you everything so you don't have to try. But then I'm stopping them from putting in the work. I'm stopping them from actually showing up and doing that for me. I'm giving them a silver platter, but then crying over the fact that they're taking everything from me, whereas I'm giving it to them. So yeah, I'm in this space now where I'm trying to just work on those foundations, work on a space of not giving myself away as much. And that's what was so beautiful about my connection last year, connections, is that I didn't lose myself through them. It was actually them joining my life and being a part of my life and me welcoming them into my life. But what didn't happen is the other way around. I didn't feel welcome in their world, in their life. I felt like I was very much the secret, even though I probably wasn't. But I felt like I was like, come and meet my friends, come and spend time in my world. But when I wanted to step into their world, they were like, no, I can't do that. I don't have the capacity. And that's just a case of where they were at. But it's given me insight and wisdom into that. Yes, I need to maintain my life. Like I think I felt the most love with somebody that I've ever felt in my life, because I was still in my life. I was still in my world. I felt like a full expression of me. And that's where I felt the most aligned with myself and the most joy in my life this time last year. But the other part of that was the parts of myself that I felt were not accepted through the dynamic I was in. And that is very strongly on me. That is strongly on, like, that's my boundaries. That's how much I allowed. Like, at the end of the day, I wouldn't change anything I went through. I don't regret anything that I've been through. But if I was in the same dynamic from here on out, if someone was not choosing me, and I don't expect anyone to choose me in the sense of like, I'm going to choose you over everything in my life. You are everything. I want someone to still have their life. But I want to have the door open to be like, I really like you and I want to welcome you into my world. And I want to do the same for them. But I feel like I'm in this space now where I'm re-exploring, where I'm rediscovering a huge part of who I am. Because I have loved deeply and I have loved vulnerably and I've been hurt as a result of it. And I'm now having to come back to a world where that love doesn't exist at the moment. Or it does, but it feels silent. It feels quiet. So when I'm alone in that, it feels harder to be single. It feels harder to live life how I lived before that relationship, before all of that dynamic. I'm having to figure out who I am after this, post heartbreak, post pain. And there's almost like a longing that exists within my life now that didn't exist before. But there's also a knowing of what's possible. There's a deeper sense of trust in life and what life might be able to offer me. And just letting life go as it is meant to. Not forcing. I'm really trying not to force. I'm avoiding dating apps. I'm avoiding going into any situation where it's forced dating. I'm returning to a space of, actually, I just need to figure myself out. I need to build those foundations. I need to find my joy away from the external joys and just rebuild a world that I have loved and I know I will love again. Honestly, it's a strange place to be, but it's also a place that I wouldn't want to change. Like my experience, I'm enjoying the process of discovering myself again and finding peace within that. So yeah, last year was tough. And I guess in this episode I am being a lot more vulnerable with you guys. I've been avoiding talking about this topic because I didn't want to share my vulnerability with the world and also potentially with the people that had resulted in my pain, quote unquote. Like, it's not, they haven't actually resulted in my pain. Like, the pain was a result of the experience. The pain was a result of loving. But sharing myself in this way, it's scary because it is I guess what I'm learning through recording this right now is previously, up until this moment, a lot of what I've shared is very intellectualized. it's me taking my experiences and going, hey, this is what I've learned, but I'm not really taking you through the pain of that experience. I feel like I come across as quite like, I know what I'm talking about. But what you're really not seeing is like under the surface, these moments where I am like, I feel like I'm touching on vulnerability, but I'm not really being vulnerable. So this is me being vulnerable. This is me sharing my pain and my journey with you all. And I think it's easy for me to reflect back on my life and look back at the moments that has caused me pain and look at it from that perspective of hindsight, from that perspective of this. I've grown from this, and this is me sharing my wisdom. But there's also parts of our lives where pain is fresh. Pain is currently our lived experience. And I think it's so easy to disregard that. It's so easy to hide that from the world and deny it. But when we sit with it, when we work through it, when we're honest and truthful with it, we can say, yes, I went out into the world and I fucked up. I messed up and it got messy and it got painful and it got really tough and hard at times, but I survived it and I got through it and I'm still getting through it. And there's something really beautiful with that. There's something really, really, really beautiful with that. So I hope this episode gives you permission to look at those moments where you feel like you're the victim, to recognize that actually you don't have to be the victim. You can look at it from how is this my teacher? How is this my lesson? If this was the thing I asked for in life to give me self-awareness or growth or a deeper understanding, why would I have asked for this pain? Why would I have asked to go through this suffering? Because the answers might be there. For me, I know I went through that to stop self-abandoning, to stop giving myself up and to listen to my intuition more. And as a result, I've started to make my life a lot more quiet so I can actually listen to myself, so I can hear my inner world and my inner voice screaming at me and going, this isn't your life. Because now I am in my life. And yes, there are some noises at the moment that's telling me, you're not happy, life isn't as good as it could be because of what I've experienced last year. But I also have to listen to that. I have to sit with that and understand, yes, there are moments where I feel miserable. There are moments where I am being so harsh on myself. But actually within that, the more I go through it, the more I'm able to give myself compassion as well. Because we are just human. We're just trying to figure life out step by step, moment by moment. And when we feel betrayed, why? If we start looking at life from a curious perspective and allow ourselves to truly bleed, we can start to discover where the wounds are that need to be healed. So I hope this episode gives you some love, some compassion. I hope it allows you to recognize that you're not alone in this world. This world can sting. It can hurt. But if we didn't fall into the bushes and get stung, we probably wouldn't have been redirected towards our actual path to begin with. And I hope whatever pain you are going through in this moment, whatever feelings of betrayal, hurt, victimhood you might be experiencing, I hope you are able to find your way back to your path. Find your way back to the direction towards yourself in your life. Until next time.